Hi, this is Susan Welsh-Degramaldo. I'm with Strategy Analytics, and I'm a director in our Service Provider Strategies group. And today we're going to have a great conversation around 5G network slicing. We're looking at network slicing as a key to unlocking 5G revenue potential. How do we really see that coming forward? End-to-end network slicing really holds the promise as a key to unlocking new business opportunities with 5G as we think about driving revenue growth, pulling in new ecosystem players. So how exactly are service providers going to benefit from this? What technical challenges still remain to make this a reality and unlock this potential with 5G? Today I have here with us Carolyn Chan. She's the General Manager of 5G Infrastructure Division with Intel's Network Platform Group. She's responsible for leading a cross-functional organization that's driving global network infrastructure strategy for 5G, bringing Intel processor into the wireless infrastructure. Now, Carolyn's going to be sharing some interviews or some perspectives she has on network slicing with a real focus on the business case and in relation to the work she's doing and the product impact from Intel's perspective as they're a silicon platform provider into the wireless industry. Now, she's got some great insights based on the work Intel's doing with enterprises and operators on some of the trials around network slicing as we drive towards commercial deployments. So Carolyn, I'd like to just kind of introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role at Intel and how Intel's really feeding into the discussion around 5G network slicing.
Thank you, Susan. So like you were just saying, that I am leading a team within the Intel Network Platform Group to provide silicon platforms and foundational software to enable the 5G infrastructure side. So most of our customers are the telco equipment manufacturers, and then our end users will likely be both the network operators as well as some of the enterprises. So we've been actually working actively on network slicing. We really see an end-to-end network slicing is the key to enable the 5G business case for telco service providers. And to some extent, it's really a means to get enterprise much more engaged in 5G than before. In the previous generation, we see enterprise as a user, meaning that when our service is offered, it's typically sometimes SIM-based contract, and they really don't take a very active role, but take more of a consumption role. What we would like to see is in 5G, enterprise and verticals become active participants in the ecosystem that actually get engaged from the get-go. And for example, Intel and Ericsson actually have started a 5G I2 initiative here in the Bay Areas. Our founding charter members include Honeywell and GE. So that's one example of how we see 5G can be very different than the previous wireless technology. And we do believe that the ability to offer the right amount of services, the right SLA that's enabled by network slicing is a key component of it. And I'd love to share more with you during the rest of the time we have together.
Yes, thanks, Carolyn. I think it's a really interesting point. I'd love to hear a little more about where you see the opportunities, which types of vertical industries or horizontal plays, where you really see network slicing playing a key role in really turning 5G into a service enablement platform in a new way that we haven't seen before and pulling in these ecosystem players. Are there particular verticals you're talking to?
Yeah, so well, because we are really at the beginning of the journey, and I personally subscribe to the idea that you gotta try different things, and if you fail, you should fail fast. So with that approach, we've identified several verticals to go after, to engage first. The trial and error type of model. And so far, we've seen actually very sticky result, believe it or not. We've done areas of venues and stadiums. We have done, I think, even that I remember, we directly participated with 3 different cases, started with Wembley and F1 Formula. We recently just did one with Nokia, China Unicom, and Tencent in China on the Mercedes Arena Stadium in Shanghai. We have done successfully in retail smart cities, transportation side. We actually just announced an initiative with Toyota, Docomo, and Ericsson and Denso called AECC, Automotive and Edge Compute Consortium. Now, of course, a lot of these trials and proof of concept, even early deployment today, are done on 4G and LTE. But this is really an idea that we get started with testing out the concept, testing out the some of the hypotheses that we made, and find out what works. And so far, the ability to deliver a virtual resources dynamically that's enabled by network slicing has come up again and again. We definitely see some of the early verticals are early adopters, but really we do see a widespread, if this really be successful, right, 5G, it needs to be a widespread across multiple verticals. I just came back, actually Monday, there was a Data Center Dynamics DCD conference here in Dallas. I spent the afternoon there, gave a keynote, and then we had an hour and a half panel on the future of data center. These are the folks that actually deployed and host data centers. Can you believe that the topic is really about 5G? We were hosted by a USC professor who is applied psychology professor in the School of Engineering. And she mentioned that the future is untethered. When you have untethered future, when the consumers no longer are confined to a particular like housings and cars, people might not even own cars. Everything's mobile. So the mobility becomes a key initiative for economic evolution, number one. With that in mind, why we must realize that the industry as a whole is with 5G or maybe the future generation needs to take into account both the consumer and the enterprise vertical. The need is no longer than put me on a web session and gave me everything I got. It really is about balancing the needs and the requirements of different applications, whether it's a car or they were showing that people no longer own houses and they come and go as they please. All of that dynamically, meaning that the population pop up in one place and pop out another place and very quickly, it changes how we serve the wireless consumers. I'm using consumers in a very liberal sense. Anyone at the end of this wireless wire, needs to be treated with just the right amount of resources. Otherwise, you will wind up with somebody have too much and somebody not having enough. But ultimately, it's just going to be a terrible user experience across the way.
So really, one of the benefits then with network slicing is that everyone gets a good quality for their particular needs.